Shinji's with the red saber, and we have Pi with the green saber. Both of these contestants have had 2 wins to get to where they are now, and now they're fighting for the championship of the No Force Sabers tournament. Now, Shinji with the red saber is notorious for not bringing the fight to you. You must bring the fight to Shinji. He'll stand where he wants to fight, and he makes you fight there. While Pi is, based on his last 2 games, is all about bringing the fight to you. Now, Shinji is using a fucked up tactic that he started using on Beef. He confuses his opponents by standing... yeah, I'll get into that later. Let's see how this first fight unfolds. Shinji is playing mind games with Pi here. We had another random join, but he left. No harm done, though. Still nobody killed. 0-0. Let's see if they can get this fight going. Shinji trying to hold the lip of Zigzag. Shinji with the red saber, Pi with the green. Looks like Pi gets hit in that exchange. Shinji playing a little bit more aggressively, but still cautious, jumping off of Zigzag after he missed that attack. Now, Shinji does not want to try to take Zigzag from this position because he knows he's at a disadvantage. But Shinji actually does play around on the lip of Zigzag, but does not try to take it all the way. Shinji playing very cautious as always. And now Shinji takes Zigzag, and Pi sees what's happening and is not happy about it. This is the exact same tactic that Shinji used against Beef. Now Pi is going to have the balls to try to take Zigzag, and Shinji is not capitalizing on the advantage that he has there because he's playing too cautiously. Pi thinking about shooting him with his gun there. Shinji wanting to keep the fight on Zigzag as long as he has the advantage. Oh, here it was a close call on Zigzag, but still nobody gets hit. Pi's holding Zigzag, that means Shinji is not going to try to take it. Pi leaves Zigzag, that means Shinji is going to take it, but does not capitalize on the advantage again because he's playing too cautiously. But gets a second hit on Pi, the same place that he scored the first hit, and brings the score 1-0 Shinji's lead. Shinji says he is like Kanye West. Pi is calling Shinji gay, but then brings the fight to Shinji, and Shinji flees from Zigzag. I'm not quite sure what Shinji's plan is there, because even when he has the advantage on Zigzag, he's not confident enough to score any hits. Pi is using a new tactic now. Not a tactic you usually see on a sloped floor like this. He's trying to duck down to lure Shinji in. It's very dangerous, especially on a sloped floor when you don't really have the control that you want. Notice how Shinji keeps a great distance until Pi swings. Shinji has the advantage on Zigzag, but does not capitalize on it again. Getting tight, top of Zigzag. It looks like Shinji may have been hitting that exchange. It was Shinji hitting that exchange. One more hit on Shinji and he's going down. Battle back onto Zigzag, getting kind of tight now. Shinji keeping his distance. Shinji deep in the corner. He might bail out the side. Oh no, he gets taken out by Pi with a jump attack. Bringing the score 1-1 in the finals, the championship game of the No Force Battleground Jedi Lightsaber Tournament 2014 Best Alive. WG Shinji versus Pi. Pi has the green saber, Shinji has the red. So far, all of the battles are taking place in ship. And again, Shinji spawns in ship. And the battle goes right back down onto Zigzag, or at least the standoff goes back to Zigzag. Shinji very hesitant to take that Zigzag, while Pi is on lip. Now Pi says that he's going to play Shinji's game, but he's not. You need to give Shinji the obvious clear to jump onto Zigzag if you want him to take that. But he does eventually take it, and they're fighting in Zigzag again. Shinji tight in the corner once again, and gets taken out once again. 2-1 Pi. Shinji getting worked on Zigzag deep in that corner. Usually Shinji bails out of Zigzag down this ramp here when he gets in trouble, but he did not do that the last two exchanges there. Let me see if I can get out here without interfering. Alright, and now Shinji's trying to bring the battle into Cave and change it up some. Now Shinji gives up Cave and takes it back as soon as Pi leaves. Now this is the exact tactic that he used on Beefy. Pi teasing with taking the fight up onto ramp. I'm not sure if he wants to do that against Shinji. Shinji wants to bring the battle out into mid and fill Pi out there. Shinji has yet to find his zone here. Battle keeps going back and forth between cliff and mid, but nobody's getting hit. I'm sorry, between cave and mid. Pi's in the water, dangerous position, but nothing happening. Shinji trying to take it onto cliff, trying to take it onto ramp. He has the upper hand, but now Pi takes the upper hand. Shinji probably is going to be very defensive coming up from this angle. Pi ducking, pulling some kind of crazy tactic on ramp. Looks like Pi's waiting for an ambush on ramp, but Shinji's not having it and falls back out to mid. And just dances with Pi, back and forth between cave and mid. Shinji really playing some weird mind game tactics against Pi here, trying to get Pi out of his game. Looks like Shinji is injured. One more hit on Shinji, he's going down. Shinji in the red saber, Yun with the green. I'm sorry, that's Pi as Yun with the green saber. And Shinji gets struck down again, this time in cave. Shinji's having a bad day. Brings the score 3-1, Pi's lead. Pi's just seemingly dominating this fight so far. And the fight goes back down into mid and cave. Shinji's going to try his luck on ramp. He's got upper hand on ramp. This is where he dominated beef. Pi pushes him all the way up to runway. Shinji waiting to ambush. Pi sees it and has to go AFK. And Pi is ready again. But now Shinji is AFK. And now Shinji's back and we're back on. Shinji liking how that fight went out on ramp. But Pi is not chasing him up and the fight goes back down into mid. Shinji cuts him off in the cave, but Pi misses the jump and doesn't get all the way in the cave. Shinji looks like he gets hit trying to pull a tactic on ramp, but now another hit. Both players are down to one hit. The next hit scored, a player is going to go down, whoever it is. Pi trying to take Shinji at the lip, ambush him right here on the lip between ramp and runway. Shinji falling back in deep ramp now. Pi still trying to ambush, drops down for the ambush, but no score. Shinji with the upper ground and uses it to take Pi out, 3-2. Pi spawns and looks like he's bringing the fight back to ramp, trying to avenge his death. Shinji is not following him, and now decides to come up. Let's see if Pi takes this ambush. He does try to take the ambush, but it's too early. Shinji sees it coming, and now the fight is moving back down into cave. And back down into mid, where Shinji wanted it anyways. Now Shinji dancing again with Pi, taking it back into cave. But gets killed on the lip between cave and mid. Shinji gets taken out, bringing the score 4-2. Pi's lead. Pi hanging out on runway looking for an ambush. Shinji taking it back on the ramp, but loses the high ground on ramp. But he still scores a hit on Pi. Pi down to one hit. Whoa, I almost interfered there, but not quite. The fight mostly taking place right on the lip between cave and mid. The score 4-2, Pi's lead. We have Pi with the green saber and Shinji with the red saber. Pi just hanging out in the water, a very dangerous spot, trying to taunt Shinji into action, but Shinji's not having it, going down the slide. Now Shinji's hanging out on cliff, on cave. Pi's back in the water. Shinji's trying to lure him back on the ramp. The battle is on ramp, except for Pi has the high ground, so I doubt Shinji's going to chase him up ramp. Now Shinji has the high ground, but Pi jumps off back into mid. Battle's back on ramp with Pi with the high ground. Shinji toying with him, luring him back into cave. Let's see if Shinji tries to take the high ground on ramp this time. Both players trying to pull some trickery by hanging out behind the corners. Pi again with the high ground and ramp, and Pi might take the bait. Yeah, Pi is moving into ramp, but Shinji falls back on the runway and then back down on the ramp. He does not utilize the position that he was in. The battle's going back down into cave and probably into mid next. Now we have Shinji holding cave. Now Pi joins him. Now Shinji abandons cave. Very long battle going on here. Both players seeming to have a very hard time hitting each other. Pi is fed up with it, trying to move the fight onto ramp. Shinji says, "No, I could take some more of this." Pi goes back down to the mid and gets taken out by Shinji, bringing the score 4-3. Shinji was the favorite coming into this match, but Pi is proving to be a formidable opponent. Battle moving into the tight quarters of cave. Shinji deep in cave. Pai's taking the bait. This is a very off-the-wall tactic by Shinji. He hasn't tried that in any of the other matches yet, but nothing comes out of it. It looks like Shinji's hit. Shinji has upper hand at ramp, but does not take advantage. Now Pi trying to try his luck on ramp. Shinji refusing to chase him. And now Shinji gets struck down by Pi, bringing the score 5-3, Pi's lead. Pi taunting Shinji now. And somebody needs to fix their mouse. It looks like Pi needs to fix his mouse. Pi is ready. And Shinji should be ready too. Both players are apologizing for being so damn boring. Shinji actually has a physical hand injury inhibiting his movement, while Pi seems to be having problems with his hardware, his mouse. Oh, Shinji falls off a cliff, but it looks like he does not take damage. Or at least they're staying in combat here. The fight moves over to Cliff. Still, both players having a real hard time scoring any hits. But now Pi gets struck down by Shinji, bringing the score 5-4. Nearly a tie game. It looks like this battle might go the distance. This is the championship fight. The winner of this wins the whole tournament. I was also in this tournament, but I got eliminated in the first match of the entire tournament. By Shinji, no less. But now we have Pi with 5, Shinji with 4. Ambush taking place. Pi again in ambush position, drops down on Shinji, but Shinji falls back, and now Shinji has the upper hand on ramp. Pi is cautious coming up. Shinji still with the upper hand, but gets pushed all the way back on the runway and makes the leap onto Cliff. Pi in close pursuit. They try to embrace at the lip there during the jump, but no dice. Now the fight's taking place on Cliff. Shinji trying a lot of warping for that small space there, luring Pi into it, and it looks like Pi gets hit. Shinji's hit too. One more hit and somebody's going down. Oh, we have a double kill. Both players die. Both players advance in kills by 1, bringing the score 6-5. Pi up on Cliff, and he could perform an ambush from there. It's a lot harder to make that jump from Cliff onto ramp to perform that ambush. But he's waiting for Shinji, who pulls out fists on runway. Shinji wants to adjust his mouse settings in the middle of the match. I'm not sure if that's such a good idea, but he's going for it. Shinji says that he's ready to go again. And now eventually Shinji's going to make the jump, and Pi tries to get him at the lip. I don't think that he scored a hit there though. Pi all over Shinji, but Pi gets hit there. You have Pi with the green saber, Shinji with the red. The score 6-5, Pi's lead. And Pi goes down, bringing the score to a tie game, 6-6. Pi brings the battle straight back into Cliff after claiming hacks. And now Shinji's had enough of Cliff and falls back down into mid. Shinji hanging out in the water trying to lure Pi in. Shinji going up ramp, looking for an ambush, but getting pushed back all the way into runway, and makes the jump on the cliff in close pursuit as Pi. Pi all over Shinji again. Shinji falls back. He can't take the heat on Cliff. Pi calls Shinji a faggot. Pi says, "Face me." Shinji is unfazed by all the homophobic slurs being sent his way by Pi. And Shinji confusing Pi with a fake jump there, but doesn't make the jump at all in the end, and instead taunts Pi. Let's see who's going to have the balls here. Shinji is at a great disadvantage with this jump. So he shows the balls to make the jump, but no scores are landed. The score still tied 6-6. Pi with the green saber, Shinji with the red. And Shinji goes for the ambush over there on ramp, but gets no hit. Battle goes back down in the mid. Shinji trying to protect the lip there, but Pai's not going for it. Battle back on the ramp with Pi having the upper hand. Shinji falls back down into mid. Taunting Pi back down into cave. And then Shinji gets hit and dies in cave, bringing it 7-6, Pai's lead. Shinji lights up on cliff. And let's see if Pi makes this jump. Pi goes for the fake. Shinji trying to capitalize on the jump, but nobody gets hit. Pi dangerously close to the ledge on cliff, but doesn't fall. And it looks like Shinji got hit in that exchange. He's probably going to play even more cautiously now. Especially since Pi has the lead 7-6. We have Pi with the green saber, Shinji with the red saber, making the flying leap off cliff onto ramp. Close pursuit is Pi. That might not work out for Pi though, because this is where Shinji likes to battle. Pi realizes it though and hangs back. And we have another double kill taking place during the ambush on ramp, bringing the score 8-7. Pi's lead still. Shinji waiting for the ambush on ramp, drops down. He may have scored a hit there. Close combat in ramp, but now Pi has the lead. Excuse me. Pi has the lead. Has the upper hand, and he also has the lead, 8-7. And he's bringing the fight down into mid. Shinji again dancing with Pi. Controlling the flow of the battle really has an effect on your opponent. When he has to follow you where you want to go, it doesn't really matter where he's going as long as he has to be the one following you and you're in control of the battle. It just takes him out of his element and makes it harder for him to pull his tactics. Close battle happening here on runway now. Shinji falling back so he doesn't get ambushed off of runway on ramp. Battle going back down into mid. And again, Shinji dancing. Going back and forth between mid and cave. We're deep in cave now, going up ramp, and Pi gets taken out by Shinji with, again, having the upper hand on ramp. The score is now tied 8-8. Pi bringing the battle straight back on the runway, trying to make the jump on the cliff, but fails and falls down. That might have injured him. Yes, it did injure him. Pi pulls out his gun but doesn't fire because this is not a guns tournament. Pi makes the leap uncontested by Shinji. And now Shinji falls back off of cliff, back onto ramp. Again, ramp has been working out for Shinji in this battle just like it did versus Beef. Cliff seems to be going Pi's way, and since Shinji's playing defensive, he's not going to want to fight on cliff. Now Shinji has the upper hand on ramp. Pi's bringing it to him. He's playing cautiously though. And Shinji gets pushed back onto runway. But Pi doesn't realize it. But now Pi advances, and we're back at the standoff at the jump between cliff and runway. Pi makes the jump on the cliff, uncontested again. It looks like Shinji's breaking out primary attacks here, something that we haven't seen him do the entire tournament. Really confusing Pi. Pi must not know what the hell to expect now, except for the one thing that you can count on is Shinji will run. Close combat in ramp, but nobody scores. Pi in ambush territory, very dangerous, except for Shinji is too defensive to capitalize on that. And now Pi takes the leap over to cliff, and Shinji's thinking about it. Shinji's still thinking about it, but it does not look like Shinji wants to fight on Cliff. Shinji freaks out Pai there. Pai thought he was going to make the jump. Both players taunting each other to see who is going to make the jump first. Pai brings out his fist there. Looked like he was going to shoot. Normally in this situation, if it's not a tournament, you would pull out your gun there and start shooting at the guy standing on runway. But Shinji makes the leap. The battle comes down onto... Oh, it comes down a cliff and Shinji falls off of cliff. It probably took fall damage there. Picks up a back die. I don't hear music though. So chances are he did not take damage and he still has 100% health. The score is tied 8-8. This is the championship fight between WD Shinji and Pai. Pai has the green saber, Shinji has the red. Another battle being stretched out. These long battles are really the result of defensive players that are too afraid to break their tactics enough to pull in some dangerous hits. There's a football field between these two players. I don't know how they're expecting to hit each other like that. Two players playing very defensively. And now close quarters in cave, and Pai gets the short end of the stick, bringing the score 9-8. Shinji's lead. Shinji could win the entire tournament by scoring one more kill on Pai. Shinji taking the leap to cliff, and he's trying to take advantage. Does not look like he scored in that exchange, and then he retreats off of cliff and waits on ramp, which is kind of a pansy-ass move because Pai did make the leap at the disadvantage onto cliff just for Shinji to fall off after he failed to score the ambush. Now Shinji hanging out on runway and ramp. He does not want to make that jump because he's very defensive, and if he makes that jump, he'll be at the disadvantage. Pai finally had enough, showing the big balls and taking the fight to Shinji, but not enough balls, or at least not enough stupidity, to try to take ramp from Shinji, and he falls back into mid. The players are too far away from each other to hit each other with swords. Don't they understand that? They need to be closer in proximity. Looks like Pai is trying a new tactic, ducking down on the lip between mid and cave. Shinji's too much of a puss to even take that bait. Again, Shinji wants to ambush Pai on ramp. He wants to have a clear advantage, and Pai is just not going to have that. He's not an idiot. But, you know, if Shinji waits long enough, maybe Pai will go for it. Pai is taunting Shinji for being such a weenie. Now the fight might happen on mid, except for Shinji loses the advantage, so he falls back down into mid. All the players butt heads, but nobody's swinging. Pi making the loop through ship. Nothing happening. The score is 9-8. Shinji's lead. Shinji with the red. Pi with the green. This is the championship fight in the No Force Sabers tournament. Players engaged in mid, dangerously close, but not anymore. Somebody gets hit. It looks like it was Shinji that got hit. Pi taking the high ground on ramp. Shinji actually chasing him up the high ground. Almost gets hit, but now Shinji takes the high ground. Pi takes it from him now. Intense battle happening on ramp. Shinji showing the gusto and pushing Pi all the way back up on the runway. Pi drops down for the ambush. No dice. Pi with the upper hand on the ramp. Gives it up to Shinji. Pi thinking about pushing up. He does push up. Shinji with the upper hand. Shinji giving up the upper hand to Pi now. This is the longest that we've seen a fight happen on ramp with nobody dying. Shinji with the ambush drops down but misses. And takes the hit, bringing the end of the tournament with our champion and ruler of the No Force Lightsabers tournament. WD Shinji right there. Red Saber, Kyle Katarn. Victory. See you next time.